The spotlight is not my place. A bit ironic in this moment, isn't it? But what I'm trying to say is that I'm not an extrovert. Extroverts, everyone knows them. They are those charismatic souls who illuminate the room when they walk in. The funny characters who captivates the attention with a shimmering presence that make itself heard and noticed, like a happy song. But who pays attention to them? Who listens to that song? Those people are often called introverts. Oxford Languages, the world-leading dictionary publisher, defines an introvert as a shy and reticent person. This is an oversimplifying definition of what introverts are. Psychology gives us a more complex definition of introversion. Carl Gustav Jung defines introversion as an inward turning of libido. Jung, differently from what we now think of the term, defined libido as a motivation to a range of behaviors, or being more inclined to certain conducts. However, the definition that most closely aligns to the modern understanding of introversion is described as a person who recharges through introspection, often preferring their inner world for reflection on feelings, emotions, and thoughts, as put forth by the psychologist Patricia Carrigan in the Psychological Bulletin in 1960. But the oversimplifying definition is easy to believe, because most times, the first picture that comes to our minds when we think about an introvert is this person afraid to talk, slinking in the corner of the rooms like a scary shadow. Maybe you even picture this person as a sad, lonely soul, all helpless and a little, well, weird. I don't judge you if you do, honestly. I myself think like that sometimes. And I am an introvert. The problem with that is that it's not in the slightest way close to what an introvert really is. After the psychological and historical stuff, let me tell you that basically, introverts are like cats, beings who get their energy by spending their time thinking and exploring their own thoughts. Masters of introspection and quietness, far more interested in the little world in their head than in making friends. That sounds a lot like a cat to me. But oversimplifying the definitions of a term can mislead us to believe that concepts like shyness or introversion are the same. Arlene Konsick, master in clinical psychology, clarifies that shyness and introversion might seem similar, but they are quite different. While shyness is this fear to social evaluation, introversion is merely getting overwhelmed by too much social interaction and needing alone time to recharge. In fact, both extroverts and introverts can be shy. It is easy to get confused, but let me explain. Imagine a party. At the center of the room, there is, you guess it, an outgoing extrovert, singing, dancing, laughing, being the life of the party. Next to them, however, there is, surprisingly, an outgoing introvert who is doing the exact same thing, singing, dancing, laughing, being the life of the party. At the corner of the room, there is a shy extrovert who wishes with their entire being at the center of the room and being the life of the party, but they are too shy to actually try. And at the other corner of the room, there is a shy introvert who is, in fact, counting down the seconds to get home and too overwhelmed by all these people surrounding them. Introverts are far from being the sad or gloomy figures that we might initially assume. But why knowing that matters? Well, because we need to stop believing that introversion is some type of undesirable trait that we need to get rid of. Introverts, for a long time, have been pushed to change and be more outgoing in order to be successful or happier. For example, in 1992, the renewed magazine Psychology Today published an article called Happiness, The Secrets on How to Be Happy, where one of their tips was a simple and plain word: extroversion, because happy people are extroverts. Well, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but this is a reflection of a very common assumption, that us, the more quiet ones, the less social ones, are somehow unhappy with ourselves. In 2012, Susan Cain, an independent researcher renowned for her insights on introversion, explained that social environments, such as public schools, end up becoming this place where introverts learn that they have to act like extroverts. Because they're in this big social environment where they need to be outgoing in order to even be noticed. Let me tell you a story. Back when I was 7, I changed schools. And after some challenging months for a 7-year-old, the field report card came, and I was so proud to get a straight A's. When I went to check the comment of my teacher, I didn't expect much. Maybe the comment, "well done," that all other kids got. However, I did not expect a single and dry comment saying, "you need to be more outgoing." I didn't expect either to be ignored the rest of the year after I didn't change. This is not a single or a personal story. I have a lot more of these stories, and my introverted peers do too. All right, I might be coming across a bit dramatic, but hear me out. This situation can actually become quite challenging over time. Introverts often deal with harmful remarks, face harassment due to be seen as different, receive constant pressure to fit into environments that requires them to be someone else, and sometimes even experience being outright ignored by people surrounding them. At the beginning, I thought that this problem might not be significant, and I was exaggerating. But in the process of writing my speech, I became aware of the breach in my community between extroverts and introverts. I came along comments that show how little understanding about introversion there really is. And after typing at least 100 times introversion in Google just to find tips that don't work because I have tried them on how to overcome introversion, I set my mind to talk about this topic. It is clear that we need to try to understand each other and be more empathetic. We should not try to reshape an entire piece of our population into something that they're not. Well, we shouldn't and we can't. Hans Eysenck was a pioneer in the psychological research of intelligence and personality. He had a famous theory positing that introverts can reach their optimal level of cognitive performance with minimal external stimulation, while extroverts needed a higher level of such stimulation. He theorized it was because extroverts have a lower baseline level of cortical arousal. Yeah, I didn't understand that, but after reading it an embarrassing amount of times, I understood that Hans Eysenck stated that extrovert brains are less alert on their own. To feel awake and focused, they seek for external stimulation, such as social interaction. While introverts' brains are in a higher level of alertness all the time, they are more sensitive to any external stimulation, and they seek calm and quietness. Our brain functions in a whole different way. Simon Grimm, independent researcher and expert in medical psychology, proved this more recently with a team of experts. And they use cool photos of our brains. Well, I must say, utilizing advanced brain imaging techniques. But these cool photos show that glutamate, a chemical messenger that regulates our mood, was higher in certain brain areas that lacked extroversion. More glutamate indicated more introversion. We do not choose to be extroverts or introverts. It's like being born with black or blonde hair. Introversion is a multifaceted psychological trait that possesses its own set of strengths. The psychologist Leon Salter highlights the distinct value that introverts bring. They excel at attentive listening and, ironically, most of the times, meaningful communication. They possess heightened behavioral and emotional intelligence. They excel at inner analysis and reflection. In essence, introverts may lack some certain qualities that extroverts don't, while simultaneously embodying qualities that extroverts lack. I firmly believe that we complement each other. Have you not heard about the common extrovert adopting an introvert? We need each other, even if we don't notice it. The extrovert friend is the one who looks for risk, following their most impulsive thoughts. They are the one who talks, the one who says, "let's go for an adventure." The introvert friend is more careful and reflective with their actions. They are the one who listens, the one who says, Let's think about this before. They are the listeners to the happy song. We must come together to appreciate our diverse personalities, fostering an environment that cherishes both introverts and extroverts. It is a testament to our shared human experience, where every individual uniqueness plays a crucial role. By doing so, we pave the way for a harmonious coexistence that truly thrives in the power of our differences. And sometimes that requires introverts in the spotlight. Thank you.